With 4 races remaining in the One-Up Superstar Series season, everything is on the line, and we are here at Richmond Raceway for round 27 of the One-Up Superstar Series season. We're getting close to the end. Anything's still in the cards, and for these playoff drivers, it's win or bust to keep their championship hopes alive. Alongside me in booth for today's race is Duke Ansack, as always. Well, the championship protagonists in the top 2 got completely turned on their heads at Denver last week, but now they've completely turned it back the other way around here at Richmond, because now it's Christian Vargas in the catbird seat once again.
Yeah, you know, Christian Vargas has been putting together a really good playoffs, but last week just did not go the way that 54 team would have wanted. Is now back to second place in the playoffs, though only by 3 points. So with the 18 car starting farther back in this field, in fact, all the way back in 17th is Polanski starting. This is a big moment for the 54 to gain a lot of points. He's starting on the outside lane. We saw yesterday in the Nitro race that the outside lane was pretty good when you were trying to pass somebody if you were side by side with them, especially at the very beginning of the race. So we'll see if he's able to get a lead early in this thing and keep it for the end of the race.
And with everything on the line, the last driver with a realistic shot at the championship, Bobo Jones in the 86, has landed himself on pole position for the 3rd time this season. His 86 car will lead the field to the green flag with Vargas alongside him. Jeffrey Thinguy, another driver whose championship hopes are on life support at the moment, currently in 3rd. With Diego Yepes getting hit the best start of the season for Rock Car Racing number 47 starting in 4th, and JQ Halleck in the 84 starting in the top 5. We got some names that we don't expect to see at the front all the time, but they qualified up there tonight, and they're going to put on a show for us, I'm sure. With the playoff drivers scattered throughout the top 20 and a few further back, everything is on the line, and if you have a bad race here, it might be impossible to recover again.
You're absolutely right with saying that. You know, I think that there's a few cars that, while not mathematically out of this race, are realistically out of the chance to win the title this season, but we've still got a significant amount that have a chance, both realistically and mathematically, of course. So, but today is going to be a big day for Christian Vargas in the 54. I think we're going to have to keep an eye on that car, and I'm sure that we will be, because I think that this is his moment to get up there and really put a stranglehold on this championship.
So with that being said, Christian Vargas getting ready to add to his tally of good finishes here in 2021. The field is all lined up, and we're ready to bring you 100 laps of action from Richmond Raceway. The green flag is next. Stay tuned, folks. The One-Up Superstar Series is nearing its conclusion. With 3 playoff drivers leading the charge, we ask you to join us for a quiet lap 1 in memory of Ryan Darnell. Green flag in the air, underway at Richmond once again. Complete opposite of what we saw in the Nitro National Series race yesterday. The inside line powered away very well, and it allowed Bobo Jones to take the lead almost immediately at the start from outside pole sitter Christian Vargas. Jones leads lap 1 and looks like he'll comfortably lead lap 2 ahead of his playoff contenders behind him.
Yeah, you know, he was just able to use that bottom. You know, there's a lot of grip down there, especially after a day of racing on this track. So, you know, this is the very end of the weekend. There's all this rubber on the track. Grip is high in the bottom lane, and with the tires brand new like that, it just worked out. So I'm curious to see if the outside lane will come in this race at all, or if you'll be able to defend up there in this race. It's significantly longer than yesterday's race, and there's a pit stop somewhere in there as well. So, you know, it's going to be fascinating to see what these drivers are able to do towards the end of the runs today. I think that's when the race is going to be won.
And for Christian Vargas in the 54, this race is all about managing the gap, because as things stand right now, he would retake the points lead from Jared Polanski, who right now is running in about the 17th position on the racetrack. So Vargas in second would take a very comfortable lead, but with 3 races remaining at 3 very high-speed racetracks, it's all about managing for Christian Vargas. If he's going to win that championship, he's got a lot to do, as we've got a 3-wide battle for, looks like, the 8th position between Kevin Carter, Patrick Smith, and Justin Hutchinson up on the high groove.
Yeah, Justin Hutchinson is up there. He got a crazy big run coming off of the corner, running that high on this racetrack. He's going to pass by, and now it's only 2 wide coming through here. Let's see if the 10 gets any more speed coming off the corner. It looks like he will, and he's going to clear both of those drivers. So we're seeing again in this race that the outside lane, if you're stuck up there, if you enter correctly, you can exit really well and get a lot of speed coming down the straightaways.
So we're focusing back now at the front of the field after that battle settled in favor of the number 10. Christian Vargas we're looking at now in the 54, running solidly in the 2nd position, about 3/10 off leader Bobo Jones. He's only completed 7 laps, and Jones has led them all. But if Vargas can finish right here, he'll retake the points lead, but I'm sure he's got more on his mind than just regaining the lead in the championship. He wants to get his 4th win of the season, and I imagine there'd be no better place to do it than here at Richmond.
Yeah, if he were to get that 4th win of the season, he'd tie Jeffrey Finguy as far as wins. He'd only be 1 away from beating Stephen Hunter, another couple of playoff drivers that right now they're not really looking super good as far as the championship is concerned. I mean, Christian Vargas in this playoffs has really turned it on, and today has just got to be about, like you said earlier, managing that gap, especially with Jared Polansky starting so far back in this race. You just got to stay up front. Top 3 today for Christian Vargas is going to be really helpful in his en route to trying to win the championship.
He looks up high, trying to see if he can't get a run on Bobo Jones in the 86. Thinks better of it, stays on the right behind the 86 as we dive off into turn 3. Bobo Jones has not won a race this season. He's come close a couple times with 3 top 5s this season, but has yet to find the key to victory lane so far, and he wants to get one for Genesis Engineering before he leaves that team at the end of the season. So Bobo Jones, he won 2 races last year, but this year has been a bit of more of a challenge for him to get there. He's looking pretty strong here though, and right now he's doing a good job holding off Christian Vargas and the rest of the field.
Yeah, and it's good to have Christian Vargas behind you right now, especially with the situation he's in. I know that 54 car wants to go out there and win this race, but he's going to have to be really smart about how he does it if he were to make a move for the lead. You have to think about what he's up against right now. He has got to get points in this race, and if he's going for the lead and he's aggressive and he wrecks trying to do it, he will go ahead and kiss that lead or that option to take the lead of the championship goodbye. So he's got to be smart about this. So I'd say for Bobo Jones, this is a comfortable position right here to be in, especially with that 54 behind, because I know that he's not going to make any crazy moves on you, at least till maybe later in this race.
Top 3 are starting to pull away a little bit from 4th place JQ Halleck and 5th place Diego Yepes, both of whom have their best starting spots of the season right there in the 84 and 47 respectively. They used to be teammates, remember, and Yepes still owns the 84 car, but Yepes left the 77 ride to go to the 47 mid-season to make room for Andres Molina to continue his championship bid, which may come to an end here tonight. He started pretty deep in the field. But right now, the top 3 are pulling away. They've got about an 8/10 lead over JQ Halleck, Jeffrey Finguy, Christian Vargas, and Bobo Jones. All 3 of these guys looking for a championship. But realistically, Christian Vargas is in the best possible position here.
You're right, and I'd say that the 92, he really needs to start getting some wins if he wants to have a shot at this thing. But as far as Bobo Jones goes, he's only 48 points behind the leader, Jared Polansky, and of course, with the 54 being right behind him, he's not gaining a ton of points on the leader by winning this race, but he's gaining a lot of points on the competition, so he's got a lot to lose right now leading this race. He really would benefit from winning today, and he would keep himself in the points battle, at least to have a shot in case one of those drivers ahead of him had a bad day in the coming races.
Christian Vargas only entered this race 3 points out of the lead, and as things stand right now, he would have a pretty commanding lead over that 18 car if things end the way they're at right now. Jeffrey Finguy would most likely gain a lot of positions over Stephen Hunter and Nick Ortiz to jump up in the 7th overall, but with 3 races to go, his opportunities are running out. So Finguy needs to capitalize on every single opportunity he possibly can if he's going to have a shot at winning this thing overall at the season's end at Homestead Miami Speedway. But right now, Bobo Jones continues to lead the way. He's led all 18 laps so far. This is, I believe, the most laps he's led in a 1-Up Superstar Series event this season, as we now have a side-by-side battle for 5th place between Zachary Fitzwater and Diego Yepes in the 47. They're in a battle for 28th in the owner's points as well. Or in the driver's points, I should say. The 47 is a lot farther down in the owner's points than 28, but these two are having a spirited battle, and we like to see that move Fitzwater up into the 5th position.
Yeah, that is quite the battle as well. Only 6 points separates those two drivers, so every position matters for them. And you see there's a couple of playoff drivers right behind them currently, just trying to mind their own business. I've been surprised with how far ahead these top 3 have gotten. They've started to pull away, and that's kind of fascinating to me. We saw yesterday that it took quite some time, as you see the 54 go a little bit high on the racetrack right there. It took quite some time for all these leaders to catch up to the back of the field, even without any cautions in the race. So I expect the same today because of the fact that the gap between Bobo Jones' pole lap today and Christian Russell's lap time that he set to qualify 42nd is only about 4/10. So all these cars are running really similar times, and that just means that it takes a lot longer for the leaders to catch up to the back of the pack, which makes me think that they're not going to have to deal with lap traffic for quite some time in this race.
Which will only leave them to deal with each other on this racetrack. Dodge, Toyota, Ford, 1, 2, 3, with the first Chevrolet being Diego Yepes back in the 6th position. But with Bobo Jones leading the way, Christian Vargas continues to hound him for 2nd. If Vargas can get out in front of this race, even for just 1 lap, nab that bonus point for leading a lap here, that will be critical in the championship bid as well for Christian Vargas. It will certainly aid him to build an even bigger pad over Jared Polansky, and if he can lead the most laps, that would even add to his cushion even more.
You're right, and right now I think he's probably just content to ride right there. If he stays out for 1 longer lap than Bobo Jones does, he'll be able to kind of get that lap bonus, the lap lead bonus, just by virtue of staying out during the pit stop, so there's that kind of a guarantee if he wanted to use that as an option. Of course, it looks like he's trying to go make a move right now. There's still plenty of time to lead the most laps in this race, so it wouldn't be that bad for him to try to get it. But again, I think the risk versus reward in this situation, you just kind of want to stick there and make sure you finish this race in this position rather than trying to force yourself into the lead and just for 1 point. That's an interesting decision. But right now, running in 2nd place, pretty content, I'd say, for Christian Vargas.
45 points for Christian Vargas versus 52 points for Bobo Jones right now, who is leading the most laps so far. He's led all 27 laps so far. As we enter the 2nd quarter of this race, the 86 is holding steady in the lead position of this race, but they're starting to get some company from J.Q. Halleck and Zachary Fitzwater. They've started to close that gap in a little bit. Eventually, in due time, we may see a 5-car battle for the lead if those two can gain. As Bobo Jones takes a defensive line down the inside, could that open the door for Christian Vargas to get a run on the outside? He just tucks back in line. No reason to risk it this early in the race.
Yeah, and I do believe that these two cars who are in this kind of like a second to pack almost, it's a little bit weird that they're running like tandems and 3-car battles here at a short track like Richmond, but they're starting to catch up, and here comes a move for 2nd place and a move for the lead from Christian Vargas going on the outside lane. Let's see if he's able to carry that momentum off the corner. He will. They're side by side for the lead going into 3.
And Christian Vargas has the advantage going into turn 3, but Jones has help from Jeffrey Finguy and J.Q. Halleck coming off of turn 4. It is going to be Christian Vargas in the lead of this race. Give the bonus point to the 54. He will take that and put it in the bank. No one can take it away from him now, so he will lead that lap, and now he's comfortably out in the lead ahead of Bobo Jones. So this is exactly what Christian Vargas wanted to see. He wanted to see Jones try and defend unnecessarily down on the bottom, and that just allows the 54 to swoop by on the outside and take the race lead, which he now has on lap 32 with still plenty of time left in this race.
Yeah, something interesting about this track, you know, maybe Christian Vargas wasn't ever really attempting to make a move, but because of how much curve there is on the front straightaway, you get the angle with your side mirror. You know, the driver behind is always kind of filling up that mirror. So my guess is that Bobo Jones just thought that 54 was getting a little too close. He went for the defensive move, and then Christian Vargas said, all right, I'll take the outside. Took the outside and made the move happen. But what that's allowed is these two drivers that were behind in 4th and 5th, they have caught right up, and then so is the rest of the field. So everybody's kind of been reintroduced into this leader battle, and now we got ourselves a race here. And look, there's a move for second place.
Finguy on the inside of Bobo Jones is trying to get 5 more points by the difference between second and third. It could be a little bumper shot to the back of the 86. If it wasn't contact, it was awfully close, as Bobo Jones defends from Jeffrey Finguy. He will lose a little bit of momentum there. He's got to defend now from JQ Halleck in the 84 with only one top 5 to their name this season. So 84 car looking to add a second top 5 to that run, as is Zachary Fitzwater, who has only one top 5 this season. That came at Watkins Glen earlier this season with a 3rd place finish. Fitzwater hoping to add to that as well, to jump past Diego Yepes into 28th in the points and build his cushion over the top 30 battle that's going on between Cody Goforth and Arthur Xavier at the moment.
So something fascinating I'm noticing here is that, you know, you'd think with how stacked up they were, those top 3, that a leader change would kind of make it so that they're more spread out. And while I do think the gaps between the cars individually are a little bit longer, these 3 cars are still quite a bit faster than those drivers behind. So it's just that these guys are faster overall than those guys, and it wasn't really that Bobo Jones was holding anybody up. While we see Christian Vargas, obviously, he is setting some hot laps right now. He knows that this is his chance to try to secure the most laps led bonus, which would be really helpful. And of course, winning the race is going to be the most points you can get as far as finishing position. So he's going to really try to extend that gap over Jared Polansky in this race, who still has not even broken into the top 10.
He'll have to lead until about lap 60 or so to take the most laps led point away from Bobo Jones, who led the first 29 laps of this race. But Vargas is out in front right now. He's gaining the most points he possibly can right now. Does not have the fastest lap at the moment. That's Justin Hutchinson's for the time being, who running in the 6th position. You can see right behind Zachary Fitzwater. But right now, Vargas continues to lead at Richmond. He has yet to win on a short track in his career, as we've got a caution on the racetrack.
Oh boy.
Something we did not see in the Nitro National Series race at all. And it looks like, let's see which cars were caught up in this. Christian Russell's got a little damage on the right side of his car. Running at the tail end of the field, could it have been him that this caution played into the favor of? But right now, these guys are going to get their pit stops taken care of under the caution flag. Could be a pivotal moment in this race right here.
You're right, because Christian Vargas already has the lead, so we're going to have to see which pit crew is able to get them out first. You know, everybody is all stacked up now in this race, so, you know, every 10th of a second is going to matter in this pit stop. The pit stop now matters so much more than it did if it were to happen under green flag conditions. So let's see who's going to get out first. The 86 has a better pit stall. He's going to be able to just accelerate right out there. It looks like his pit stop a little bit farther behind the 54, just as we expected, because he came in later. We've got still one more on the pit lane coming out. There goes Christian Vargas. He's going to get the lead.
Jones stalls it a little bit on exit. That's going to give Jeffrey Finguy second place. And Jared Jackson gets a huge run of momentum. He'll shoot up the leaderboard up into the top 5 as well with that run. This, you know, for a guy who's only making his 6th, 7th start in the series, this is a very good run from that 71. He could be a factor yet in this race. We still got 59 laps to go. But right now, I believe Justin Hutchinson was actually the car that brought out this yellow flag, because he was very far off the pace compared to the rest of the playoff drivers he was competing against. But right now, as Christian Russell pulls in for service, we will get you a replay of what happened to Justin Hutchinson and the rest of the cars that could have been involved in this accident. So this is where Justin Hutchinson was running, just outside the top 5. Is he going to get a bump? It looks like he is going to get a bump from Jake McMillan, who sends him up the racetrack and into the outside wall. That's a pretty tough impact. And Nick Ortiz's teammate just barely avoided clobbering the side of that 10 car, putting both cars out of action. But they managed to keep things running smoothly, and Justin Hutchinson, I should say, will be able to continue under green flag conditions, albeit very far down the order right now. Right now he's being shown in the 29th position, behind J.D. Martin in the 66. But right now, we have all these cars still running. Everybody's still on the lead lap for the time being. And we're going to get a restart here in 1 lap's time. The lights are out on the pace car. No cars are a lap down yet. So we will have a single file restart for this coming back to the green. Christian Vargas leads the way. He's been leading for the last several laps or so. Jeffrey Finguy runs second after the pit stops. Bobo Jones back to third. JQ Halleck fourth. And as I mentioned, Jared Jackson in the 71 had a very good pit stop. He made his way up from 9th to 5th. With Zachary Fitzwater 6th. Stephen Hunter, another driver of a good pit stop, in 7th, ahead of Jake McMillan in 8th, Patrick Smith 9th, and Nelson Reeves in the top 10, just ahead of Diego Yepes in the 47. But we're going to get ready for a restart. Pace car's peeling off, and we're getting ready to restart this race on lap 45.
Yeah, so Christian Vargas is going to lead everybody to green. There's the flag man with the green flag in his hands, and now they're racing again. And we still see these 3 drivers up front that we've seen all race, except in a different order now. Bobo Jones, he sneaks low. It's not going to be enough. He's going to sneak back into line now, 2 wide behind that. And what has happened in this restart, because of the fact that it's single file now, is it is spread out this field more than it did at the beginning of the race. So I do expect that at some point today, without another yellow, there will be lap cars involved in who decide or in the decision of who wins this race, you know. So this is going to be fascinating to see when they catch those lap cars, and of course if there's another yellow that would make it so that they don't. But right now we've got a lot of good battles on this track, and the leader is still Christian Vargas.
Side by side for the 8th position, Jake McMillan holds it. Patrick Smith wants it. Nelson Reeves takes a peek up to the high side. He's trying to get into the top 25 in owners' points to keep that ride for 2022. He's doing a good job of it right now. And as things stand right now, he would actually take that spot from Ben McDonald in the 12. So good run from Nelson Reeves, as we got another side-by-side battle, this time for 4th, between JQ Halleck and Jared Jackson, the Nitro National Series driver, substituting into the 71 for Kings Motorsports here. They're battling it out for 4th position, and I believe Jackson's got the faster car at the 2.
Yeah, well, you know, that outside lane is just, I mean, is just extremely powerful, especially when you're like inched ahead of that driver on the inside. If you're any bit ahead at all, you can really send it in there, dime in the corner, and then come out on top with a ton of momentum. So that's the place I want to be if somebody's trying to pass me. I want to try to stay on the outside and try to get the run.
As things stand right now, we talked about that battle between Nelson Reeves and Ben McDonald for 25th in the points. As things stand right now, Nelson Reeves, actually I was mistaken, he already holds the 25th spot in the points by 18 points over Ben McDonald. So this will just further boost the 17 up the order. He'll probably get past Lane Sanders in this race, up to 24th actually. So that's a good run from that 17 to try and keep his ride. He's doing everything he needs to do to keep that spot. As we see lap car coming out of the pits, that's Christian Russell in the 2, who's had all sorts of issues this race, and unfortunately I believe those issues will carry on for a long time to come. Russell's back into the pits just after coming out. I believe he'll be there for a long time going forward.
Yeah, it's good that he didn't impact the leaders more than he did coming out of the pits right there. That was probably a good decision to come back into the pits. Not feeling quite right in that car after some contact earlier in this race. But Christian Vargas is starting to pull a little bit of a gap on the 92 car right now, and that's the biggest gap we've seen. And then from the 92 on back is an even bigger gap. So these two cars are starting to show their strength after the pit stop, and we'll see what they're able to do. If maybe they're going to settle it between the two of them for this race, though we're just past halfway, so of course anything can happen. But you know, right now these two drivers are the ones that I've got circled as contenders to win this race.
And I wouldn't count anybody out in this race. We still got 46 laps to go from Richmond. Anything's still possible. We've seen plenty of chaotic events happen at this racetrack before. But right now, it's Vargas ahead of Finguy by about half a second. Bobo Jones another half second back. Then J.Q. Halleck another half second back. But then it's a big battle between Halleck and Jared Jackson in that 71, who I believe could even have a faster car than Christian Vargas. It's yet to be seen. But I believe that 71 will, at the very least, challenge for a podium here in this one.
I'll tell you what, that 71 car, you know, he's on a tear. It's a really fast car he's got, and of course we've seen what that driver can do in the Nitro National Series. So, and his select starts in this, the Superstar Series. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get up there and kind of fight with some people to try to challenge for some better positions in this thing.
Still running in the top 5 as things stand right now. Very good run from this 71 car. He had a top 5 finish at New Hampshire as well in that 71 car. So, and he also had a top 10 in the 05 for Moto Dash Racing at Watkins Glen, I believe it was. So a very good effort. But actually it was North Wilkesboro he got that top 10 for Moto Dash Racing in that 05 car. So Jackson's had a very strong slate of races this season, and I imagine he'll only get better with experience and with time. Speaking of experience, here's the defending series champion Stephen Hunter. He had a very good pit stop that boosted him up into 7th place, but ever since the restart he's been stuck behind Zachary Fitzwater, and I believe he's going to have a lot of work to do to get up into a challenging position for this race. If he can challenge with his teammate at all, that would be a great day. As you look back, here's Nelson Reeves doing everything he needs to do to keep that ride, running in the 10th position. But back up front, the top 3 have converged once again.
Yeah, passing has just been so tough this weekend at this track. For whatever reason, you know, when you try to sneak low of somebody, you think that that's the faster lane around, but then you get squeezed on the exit. You have to let off the throttle, and the guy on the outside is able to keep the position. Then if you try to sneak to the outside of somebody, you're not going to have the drive in to be able to cut them off on exit. So it's been difficult for drivers to make passes, which is why we see people stuck behind other cars so often in this race. And right now we're seeing it again. Just all these drivers kind of single file. Nobody able to do anything because the cars are so equal and there's not a lot of opportunity.
So Christian Vargas has now taken the most laps led point away from Bobo Jones. Vargas has led the last 31 laps of this race. Vargas has led those laps. Jones has led the first 29. Christian Russell led a lap earlier in the race during the pit stop cycle under caution. And as you can see, Russell coming out of the pits, but he will make his way back into the pits. He's just had a very miserable day here at Richmond, and he just wants to load it up and make his way back to the shop and get ready for whatever his next start may be. But right now, it is Vargas ahead of Finguy, ahead of Jones, the 3 cars separated by half a second. Ahead of that side-by-side battle you see at the back of your shop between Halleck and Jackson for the 4th position. If Jackson can get past that 84 car, I think, yeah, it looks like he just did get past that 84 car, and I think that's going to be a very good position for the 71 to stay in and maybe even challenge the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got to clear him. He's on that inside lane. It's going to depend on if he's able to inch ahead a little bit and whether he's able to clear for that spot. But once he does, if he does, of course, you know, he's going to be able to catch right up to these guys who are racing for the lead. And then he's going to be able to start trying to pick them off one by one. He's got nothing to lose in this race, so he can be aggressive, unlike these guys who are all fighting for playoff spots, all fighting for points they can get. So they've got to be more careful, whereas the 71 car right now, he's out there for trophies. He's out there for pride, trying to show people he has what it takes to compete with these playoff drivers, you know, because he might be one of them someday. So, yeah, that car is catching up, and he's going to be aggressive trying to get through these top 3, maybe get himself a win.
I wouldn't say he has nothing to lose, because that 71 is racing for the Owners' Championship in the Superstar Series, where he's currently 7th overall in the Owners' Championship, but I imagine he'll be boosted up in those positions pretty well by the run he's having right now. Right now, he's closing in slowly on these guys, and there's still 34 laps to go. So I would not put it out of the realm of possibility for this to be a 4-car battle. But even so, Christian Vargas starting to pull away from the other two a little bit. The gap now over half a second. So Vargas starting to make this his own race. I hate to say it, but those two may not be his biggest challengers. I think it might be that 71 car who's the biggest challenger to Christian Vargas by the end of this race.
I agree, and I think that's exactly why we're seeing this 54 kind of extend that gap. He must have been told that the 71 was on the way, and that he's the guy that he's got to watch out for. He knows how difficult it is to pass here, so Christian Vargas has got to step on it right now, get a big gap, so that once the 71 does pass these guys, if he's able to, it's going to take longer for him to get up there. There's only 30 laps left in this race, just about, and it's so difficult to pass. We'll see if there's enough time once Jared Jackson gets by these guys, but if he's able to get by him with enough time, there's going to be a battle for the lead, and if not, Christian Vargas is wanting to be far enough ahead that it won't matter whether Jared Jackson gets by him or not. It's going to just all come down to the timing and if it works out or not for the 71 car.
And with that yellow flag coming out, I don't see lap traffic being a big issue in this race. Because remember, it took about 75 laps last night for the Nitro National cars to catch the back end of the field. We had a caution with 60 laps to go. So that's not, I don't believe it's going to be an issue as far as lap traffic is being a factor at the end of this race. I could be proven wrong. Christian Russell's intermittently coming in and out of the pits every lap, but I could be proven wrong. But here comes Jared Jackson. This is something I'm definitely not wrong about. Jared Jackson makes a move to the outside of Bobo Jones. He's going to try and take third away.
Look at that. He just decided to go to the outside as soon as he caught these guys. And he's going to be able to clear probably coming out of turn 2. Oh, unless Bobo Jones gets loose on the inside. That was a scary moment for those two drivers. Went right up the track. That's halted the progress of the 71 momentarily, but he's going to get a good run here. Look at that. Cleared for third position with a great move on the outside.
Now there's only one car in between Jared Jackson and the leader Christian Vargas. That being the 92 of Jeffrey Fingal with 4 wins already this season. Vargas with 3. Jared Jackson doesn't even have a win yet in any of the one-up racing series. So he wants to prove that he's got the stuff behind the wheel to win these races and not just contend for them. And right now, he's tucked in behind the 92, looking for an opportunity to pass. We still have a quarter of this race to go.
There's Christian Russell on the inside, probably headed back into the pit lane. He's not going to be a problem, though, for these leaders. And look at how far ahead this 54 car is. He's starting to drive away. He's almost a second ahead. Yeah, there it is. Almost a whole second ahead of these guys. And, just the farther ahead he gets, the longer it's going to take for any of these drivers behind to catch up once they're clear and free of traffic. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough. The more laps that the 71 stays in third place, the better for Christian Vargas right now.
Yeah, and he's now the meat in the sandwich between the two playoff contenders of Bobo Jones and Jeffrey Fingal as Russell comes back out of the pits again. But for Jared Jackson, he really does need to get past this 92 car in a big hurry, because if he can do that, I believe he'll be able to track down that 54 in quite a hurry. But as we said before, catching cars is a whole different story than passing them here. But if there's anybody who's made passing look easy so far today, it's Jared Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, when he discovered that outside move, to try to go around the outside just to pass people, I mean, that's kind of what I've been trying to I've been trying to say to these guys. I've been trying to yell from the booth, go to the outside, go to the outside. Don't worry about your tires out there. Just go out there, make the move, and you're going to gain positions. And we've seen that this 71 can do it. Of course, right now he's still stuck behind that 92 car. He hasn't been able to get the run he wants in this race quite yet, and we're closing in on 20 laps to go here, a little bit less. And here's 71 down to the inside. He's gonna make that move. I'm not sure if the inside is exactly the place he wants to be against the 92.
It's the only place he can go right now, because the 92 left the door open, and the 71 had to take whatever opportunity he could. He's holding his own down there, and I believe at the line, that's going to be awful close between those two. I don't know who got the spot at the end, but they're battling side by side throughout this race, and that's just allowing Christian Vargas to pull away even more. He's almost got a 1.2 second lead now. But what Jared Jackson needs to do, he needs that 86 car to push him past the 92 in a bid for this position, because he's not making much headway on the inside. Oh, this is going to be really close between these two. He might put a bumper to the back of him if he's not careful. This is just an exciting battle for second. I wish this was the battle for the lead, because we'd have a lot more to talk about if that were the case. But here comes Jackson to the inside. He'll get a nose out ahead of Jeffrey Finguy, and Jackson will take the spot at the line. It's just a matter of if this 71 car can clear.
Oh, he split up the track. He's going to use a little bit more track there in the middle of the corner. He's going to get a good run off of it.
And it looks like we've got more issues for the unlucky driver of the season, Cody Goforth. Under the caution, we saw that team working under the hood of that car for a long time, and we've just received word they are down a cylinder on that 60. He's going to have a rough remainder of this race. He's all the way back in 41st position, and he will inevitably lose the 30th position in the points back to Arthur Xavier after regaining it with an incredible top 10 at Denver last week. It's all going to get away from Cody Goforth once again, and I may be proven wrong again. Lap traffic could be a factor in this one. If Vargas catches Goforth at the rate I expect him to, this is going to be an interesting battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to depend on where the 54 catches him. Of course, that 60 car is completely justified in staying on the track. Now, whether he is going to move over for the leader, I don't know. Let's see where he catches him. Oh, no, he's going to be catching him in the middle of the corner. He's going to have to slow down. Christian Vargas is. This is going to be huge for the drivers behind. Caught him in the worst spot. Now he's going for the move on the inside, except he's going to get squeezed because the 660 is going to be out there. Man, it took him 3/4 of a lap to pass that 60 car. Let's see what happens with the drivers behind, because that knocked about 3/10 off of the lead, I think. So let's see where these guys catch Jared Jackson. Oh, he's going to get him in the middle of the corner, too. This is going to be...
The thing is, Cody Goforth is competently fast in the corners of this racetrack. It's on the straightaways where that sour engine is really hurting him, and you can see it there. All these cars flying by on the straightaways, but Goforth holding his own in the middle of the corners. But once they get onto the back straightaway, he's just going to get blown by like he's standing still. So all three of those cars are now clear of Cody Goforth. The lap traffic will no longer be a factor. And here comes Jared Jackson. He's clear of Jeffrey Finguy, and the gap's down to 1 second with 12 laps to go.
Boy, this race is going to be interesting to see what happens, because Christian Vargas has been quicker than the drivers that Jared Jackson has had to pass so far, but Jared Jackson's really quick right now. He's definitely faster than Christian Vargas. We'll see if he catches him with enough time remaining in this race to really put a damper. Wow, he gained almost a whole 3/10 in that lap. If he keeps that up, he's going to have enough time to pass him.
11 laps to go. Russell back out on track, but he'll be diving back into the pits this lap anyway, so he will not be a factor in settling this. With Christian Vargas holding us an ever-shrinking lead over Jared Jackson, he cut another 1/4 second out of that gap. It's now down to 1/2 second with 10 laps to go. Does Jared Jackson have enough to get his first career win in I cannot believe it is only his 6th career start in this series.
Before he ever gets a win in the series he's full-time in. And I don't know if Christian Russell thinks that the pit lane is a shortcut at this point or not. It definitely isn't. whatever they're doing is not working with that car, and I really hope that it doesn't impact these leaders, because this is a great battle we've got going on.
7 laps to go, and that gap is down to 2/10. Jackson all over the back bumper of Vargas. This is going to be a battle for the ages right here. Vargas versus Jackson. Toyota versus Toyota. Down in the turn 3 we come. Headed towards 6 laps to go in this race, with Jared Jackson right on the bumper of Christian Vargas. We've got 6 laps remaining in this race. It's hard to count with the amount of action that's going on this racetrack. But Jared Jackson has lost a little bit of that lead, but he's still within striking distance of Christian Vargas. And if he can get a good run, he's got to start using that outside, because that's where he's been the best all race long. And with only 6 laps to go now, this is going to be a very intense battle.
So the way Christian Vargas is going to be able to defend against that outside lane is by entering the corner just a little bit higher, like just a quarter lane higher on entries, because that won't allow Jackson to sneak up there before the turn starts to happen on the wall. You know, when you're out there by the wall in the straightaways, there's only so much room between your car and the wall, and if you don't allow enough room for a car to fit between there, there's not going to be an option for the 71. He's going to move up there this time. See if he can't get a run here. It's not going to happen. Time is running out here. This 71's got to get closer to the 54 if he wants to have a shot.
4 laps to go at the line from Richmond Raceway, and we got 2 cars battling it out for the race win. I don't think anybody else is going to be close enough to decide the win other than Vargas and Jackson. Coming through 1 and 2, it's going to be the 54 with the nose ahead of the 71. Is he going to take a peek down the inside? He's going to try and stuff it down in there. He moves up half a lane, but Vargas covers him off. Coming to 3 laps to go this time. This is going to be a wild finish regardless of who the winner is. I can't predict the winner of this one. And Jackson moves to the inside. They're going side by side in the 1 and 2. I'm not sure if that's the line he wants to take, but it's the line that was presented to him, and he'll take whatever he can get in an attempt to get his first career win and only his 6th series start. As they round turns 3 and 4. Jackson gets the nose out ahead of Vargas. Oh, wow. Jackson leads at the line. 2 laps to go.
This is incredible. Let's see if the 51 is able to do anything on the outside lane. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to. He's going to get a good run here. Christian Vargas.
He pinched him down on the inside. He pinched him really low, and that's going to allow Vargas to clear for the lead. The white flag's going to come into the air this time by. We're going to have 1 lap to go from Richmond Raceway, and Jared Jackson might have just seen his first career win go up in a puff of smoke with that move by Christian Vargas in turn 1. This is going to be a close battle. Vargas looking for his 4th series win of the season. Jackson looking for his first ever. Heading into 3 and 4. This is his last chance. He can't make anything of it. Coming for 3 and 4 for the final time. Christian Vargas holds off the rookie in an incredible drive. Christian Vargas wins at Richmond. Jared Jackson comes home 2nd for his best result, ahead of Finn Guy and Jones. Jake Uhala gets its 2nd top 5 of the season, ahead of Stephen Hunter in 6th, Zachary Fitzwater 7th, Jake McMillan, Patrick Smith, Nelson Reeves, your top 10. But man, Jared Jackson gave it everything he had for that first win. Came up just a little bit short, but I imagine when he goes full-time in 2022, those wins, there'll be plenty of them.
Yeah, that was quite the drive from the 71 car. I'm very impressed with that, with the driver and the car alike. You know, to have that much speed, to be that much better in comparison to everybody. But man, it was an all-out battle for the win, and Christian Vargas made a really good move by giving him the bottom, not letting him have that outside lane where he knew it was faster, and he was just able to defend for long enough to keep the lead, crossing the finish line.
So Christian Vargas with his 4th win of the season, the 5th of his career. He will retake the series points lead with only 3 races remaining. Next week, we head to one of the most abrasive racetracks we ever go to in the 1UP Superstar Series, Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina. It's going to be a lot of fun for all 42 cars involved in this race, and we hope you'll join us for that, because it's going to be a lot of fun at Thunder Valley, The Rock, in Rockingham, North Carolina. So, from Duke Gansack and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Richmond Raceway, where we saw an incredible battle for the win. Jared Jackson came out just a little bit short to take the win away from Christian Vargas, who takes both the win and the points lead with only 3 races remaining.